Welcome back to the DualSense replacement battery series. In this episode, I'm reviewing the AOLIKES brand replacement battery. I bought two of these. These are the first ones I've tested that weren't available as a 2-pack. No extras, just the battery. From Amazon, it cost about $14. A link will be in the description. This soft, pouch-style battery is listed as 2700 mAh at 3.7 volts, which works out to roughly 9.99 watt-hours. It's even printed right on the battery. And as we've seen in previous reviews, around 10 watt-hours is very achievable with these higher capacity replacements. This first chart shows the minimum power delivery and run times I recorded. Overall, this comes in at about 85% of the listed 9.99 watt-hours, which was a bit disappointing. And here are the maximum power delivery and run times. What really stands out is the huge difference between the minimum and maximum values, around 800 milliwatt-hours. That's very noticeable when it comes to real-world runtime. All the minimum values came from one battery, and all the maximum values came from the other. It's almost like two completely unrelated lithium polymer cells were used. The maximum gets very close to 95% of the listed capacity, which I consider excellent. Normally, my average charts combine all the runs from both batteries, but I rarely have the exact same number of runs per battery, and that hasn't been an issue until now. So this average power chart is the average of both batteries, using the minimum and maximum for each battery. But honestly, I don't think this gives a clear picture of what you'll actually get. Looking at the data, I suspect the weaker battery might have something wrong with it. There was a much larger drop in power delivery from the 500 milliwatt load to the 1 watt load on the weak battery compared to the strong one. That could point to higher internal resistance in the cell, a manufacturing defect, an issue with the protection circuit, or just poor quality control where cells from different batches ended up in the same model. It's not encouraging either way. The same caveats apply to this average runtime chart. Compared to the Sony OEM reference battery, it does supply a lot more power, even the weak battery. And the same holds true for runtimes. It's just more obvious here. Now for the physical construction and measurable specs. Length is right at 63 millimeters, width is a bit over 42 millimeters, and thickness is just under 8 millimeters. Even though one end is tapered, it's still too long to fit completely in the DualSense battery holder, so it's oversized and won't sit properly. The complete battery assembly weighs 44.4 grams, the second heaviest I've tested so far. The lithium polymer cell alone weighs 43.4 grams, the heaviest I've tested so far. The only physical protection is some Kapton tape along the edges. In my opinion, that's not nearly enough. It's almost like having no real protection at all. The cell will press directly against the plastic of the battery holder. Not good. Here's the back of the protection board. There are 2 spot welds per tab, and they're not the cleanest looking welds. And here's the top of the board. It's the usual DW01 and 8205 combo. But look, right near the yellow wire, there's a spot labeled for an NTC thermistor. That's great to see. The board layout is a bit different, and the solder joints look okay. I've seen better and worse. The schematic for the protection circuit looks like this. It's still the standard setup. Now for the protection test. First is the thermistor test. The bench temperature was already warm, probably close to 90 degrees, so even without heat, can see the resistance dropping. But with the hot air, it's clear we have a working thermistor, and that's excellent. Discharge over current. It shuts down fairly quickly at 3.2 amps. That's good for this circuit. Discharge low voltage cutoff. It triggered at 2.459 volts. That's on the higher end of the range, which is also great. Charge over current. No shutdown even at 5 amps. That would normally be a fail, but this is the least important test for DualSense use. I suspect the DW01 here isn't an enhanced version that detects charge over current. Since the DualSense should max out around 3 amps on USB anyway, anything over about 15 watts at 5 volts should cause the USB source to drop voltage. This isn't a big deal in practice. I'll keep including the test because some batteries do have charge over current protection, but I won't fail the whole protection section over this one test. Charge over voltage, this is critical, and it tripped at 4.280 volts. Very good. Finally, the short circuit test. The meter showed some big numbers, but I couldn't even hear an arc, so that's solid. Should you buy this battery? I'd say no. Capacity accuracy is decent. One hit close to 95%, the other around 85%. But build quality is my biggest issue. The massive difference in performance between the two batteries screams poor quality control. It might be a defective unit, or it might be how they're made. Either way, it's concerning. The biggest red flag is how hard it is to mount safely in the controller. Even taped down well, it's tough to prevent the battery holder from rubbing on the lithium polymer cell. It's possible, but it would take extra effort, and I don't think it's worth it. The protection circuit is solid overall. No charge over current detection, but as explained, that's not a real problem here. Cost per watt hour is on the high side. If the price were lower, I might give it a cautious maybe. It's the highest power battery so far with a proper thermistor, but it's not that much better than the VG-P5466 to justify all the drawbacks. So another no for episode 7. Maybe episode 8 will finally bring a winner. Thank you for watching. Keep an eye out for the next episode, where I review the WAV-YPO 5000 mAh battery. All I can say right now is I don't expect a 4-star capacity accuracy rating in its future, but we'll see how it actually performs.